Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to the Odds Breakers, playing the odds NASCAR style, an oval experience. I am your host, Paul Napier, and you can connect with me on Twitter at NASCAR Style Odds. This episode is being sponsored by 5dimes.eu. For a reduced juice bonus, please visit theoddsbreakers.com/5dimes and click on the banner to get better lines than the average sports books. This week we have a great show with info you need to know before making picks. This is episode 8 of the Oval Experience. Each week we will go into last week's race and track facts, history, trends, and what to look for before placing bets for this week's race. What a wild race at Talladega. There were 3 big wrecks, big ones if you will. The first one involved Alex Bowman, who was attempting to make a block and just got taken out. So at that point we were down one of our drivers because we had the 88 versus the 12, and the 12 was the eventual winner in the head-to-head matchup. The next wreck involved William Byron and Logano, who we had in our head-to-head matchups. Byron was spun out basically at 195 miles an hour, and in that took out Logano. Byron was trashed, so we had Byron versus Almirola. Almirola's running in the top 10, looking good there. We've got Logano versus Keselowski. Keselowski's running top 15. Logano's got a wrecked race car. He gets it fixed, comes back out. He's a lap down. And then with about 7 laps to go, that was where the big one hit, and that was the one that involved the 62 who was going for the lead and was wrecked, barrel rolled, airborne, landed on all 4 wheels. Very impressive. And in that, Keselowski ended up getting just smashed. I don't think there was a straight piece of metal on that car. So now, and Logano was able to skate through that and ends up finishing 9th with a battered race car. That was just unbelievable. But we did to get the Almirola over Byron head-to-head matchup, so that was good. A couple units down for that, but kudos to Logano's crew for getting him back out and not giving up. So that's good. Ryan Blaney was your winner, edging out Ryan Newman by 7/1000ths of a second. Did he go below the yellow line? He did, but I think he was forced out down there by Newman. Well, enough about Talladega. Let's roll to Kansas. This is the 3rd race of the second round. It's the cutoff race for the second round of the Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs, and we will narrow the field down from 12 to 8 after Sunday. Looking back at this race that was ran in May of 2019, Brad Keselowski was your winner, followed by Bowman, Eric Jones, Elliott, and Bowyer's your top 5. Interesting, only one Toyota in that top 5 at that time, and neither of them were named Busch or Truex. And if you look at the history of this racetrack, as far as if I'm looking at history as 5 races back, because really that's all I want to look at for this week because of all the changes in the cars that have been going on over the past 2 years or so. And the guy who has really dominated this race has been Martin Truex Jr. He's had 2 wins, 4 top 5s and 4 top 10s, and he's just been stellar. Another guy that you can look at that's going to be strong, should be up towards the front, is your not your defending race winner, but your last time out in May winner was Brad Keselowski. During that same time span of 5 races, he has 1 win, 2 top 5s, and 3 top 10s. And if you read the article for this week on the Odds Breakers, you will notice that I threw a little bit of heavy love to Keselowski. I really like those matchups that he is involved in, and we're going to be throwing a little bit of cash his way. Another guy, no surprise, Kevin Harvick. In the last 5, he has a win, 2 top 5s, and 3 top 10s. And finally, Alex Bowman. Look at him as a 9.67 finish. Was the runner-up for this race in May, and with a top 5 and 2 top 10s. The interesting thing about Bowman is in desperation. The only way he's going to get into the round of 8 is for a win. And I think that's going to have to play into a little bit of this over the weekend, is guys that have to win to get in. And there's basically 5-6 drivers that either they need to win to really make sure you're okay, or there's a possibility of a wreck and you're going home with stage points in that. So a lot of this weekend is going to be based on where guys are in points. I think the only 2, of course, that are safe are Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney, because those guys have punched their tickets to the round of 8 already. Busch and Kyle Busch and I think Keselowski. I think those guys are safe, but we'll see. Anything's possible, really. But guys like Bowman, Boyer, it's a win or go home for the rest of the year. Guys I would stay away from this week, Joey Logano. I know that might shock you. Kansas has not been a good track for sliced bread. In the last 5, he's got an average finish of 16.8 with only a top 5 and 2 top 10s. He's had some issues there for sure. So that's, as far as the playoff drivers, that's really the only guy to kind of just avoid totally. Most everybody else, of course, like I said, you've got Truex, Keselowski, Harvick, Bowman, Elliott, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin. Those guys, those 8 drivers right there all have an average finish in their last 5 of better than 13. So, really those are, of course, the cream rises to the top. These guys are going to be there when it counts. A guy that just throwing this name out there, and this might surprise you, is Jimmy Johnson. On the surface, his numbers of his last 5 don't look that great. However, in his last 2, he has a 22nd and a 6th place finish. Now, that 22nd place finish is a little bit kind of skewed because he did finish 9th and 8th, respectively, in the first 2 stages. So he had a good car. He knows how to get it done there. So I think he's a guy you need to look at a little bit. Just a little bit. Don't get carried away. Again, like I said, those 8 guys that I just mentioned in Truex, Keselowski, Harvick, and those are the guys really to look at. But also I just like to throw out, just some names to think about. Also look at that as far as, hey, maybe Johnson, it might be Johnson versus, somebody where, a Denny Hamlin in a matchup. Don't stay away from that. I'd just stay away from that totally. So let's look at this week's free pick. I'm looking at the matchup of Kevin Harvick minus 155 versus Chase Elliott at plus 125. Very, very intriguing matchup for sure. Harvick has a 7.4 average place finish in his last 5 starts, with a win, 2 top 5s, and 3 top 10s. Chase Elliott, during that same time, has a 10th place average with a win, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s. He has a screwy 29th place finish, and that was in the first race of those 5. And so I kind of want to throw that out almost. However, if I look at this and I look at the last 5 races in a head-to-head matchup, Chase Elliott would have won 3 out of those 5 times. and he would have won 3 out of the last 4, take away that 29th place finish. Harvick has not been really very strong at Kansas Speedway, with in his last 2 a 13th and a 12th place finish, while Elliott has had a 4th and a 1st. So I like this plus money wager here, and I'm going to take Chase Elliott. Believe it or not, I'm taking him against my guy Harvick here in a 15-unit wager to take this head-to-head matchup. Want more info and free picks for this week's race? Visit theoddsbreakers.com and click on the link for this week's race. If you like what you heard, shoot me a message on Twitter at NASCAR Style Odds. Thank you for subscribing, downloading, and listening to Playing the Odds NASCAR Style. Until next week, keep researching, keep winning, and have fun.